signs the U.S. recovery is gathering speed. Initial jobless claims fell below 400,000 for the first time in the pandemic. Companies also had nearly 980,000, nearly 1 million workers in May. It's the best gain in a year. Still, economists are worrying about a shortage of labour as some workers remain hesitant to rejoin the workforce. Key production materials shortages of things like microchips and rubber are also weighing on many companies. Richard Kramer is the CEO of Goodyear. He joins me from Ohio via Skype. Richard, it is good to have you, sir. Thank you. So, shortages. Who would have thought? Who would have thought a year ago we would now be complaining about shortages of labour, shortages of chips, shortages of commodities and raw materials? How are you handling these shortages?
Well, Richard, first of all, I have to agree with you, but I want to say what a pleasure it is to be with you. I've been traveling around the world a long time. I've seen your pieces for a long time. It's just great to be here with you. So thanks for having me, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You know, listen, I think you're correct. I think what we've experienced is demand really snapping back much greater than we thought it would. And as a result, you're seeing shortages of a lot of products out there. I heard you mention earlier chips for the OEs, whether it's getting raw materials for our tires. I think as a consequence of inventories going down so low, as everybody went to cash in the midst of the pandemic, we're seeing the results of that in terms of rebuilding inventories right now, and it's certainly turning up in the shortage of some of the materials. But we're working our way through. We've planned for a lot of this, and I'm happy to say our team has done a great job keeping our factories full and trying to get those tires out to our customers.
You see, what I find fascinating is if I look at your numbers, I mean, you're beating 19, 20 was good. As car sales roar forward at all levels, as the driving season arguably takes over from people who aren't preparing to fly, I'm not suggesting that this is what's happened is good for you, but I'm saying your numbers are strong and you're one of those that is putting in a very, very favourable performance.
Well, thank you, Richard, for saying that. And I do think that you're correct. I think we have a lot of pent-up demand out there. Yeah. I can tell you in the U.S. right now, there's about 75% of the people out there are planning a road trip of some sort. About 65% of that is really about 200 miles or more. So I think we are certainly benefiting from the pent-up demand of people wanting to get out there and travel. It also impacts us, I have to say, in the airline industry. We have a substantial share in the airline industry, and we're seeing volumes come back, as you suggest. In fact, in the U.S., in the second half of May, I think we were at about 70% capacity of where we were in 2019. So you're absolutely right. It's coming back, and we are benefiting from it. We're happy to do that.
As a CEO of a major company with tens of thousands of employees, how difficult is it running a company at the moment in such, and I'm not asking a political question, I'm asking sort of how do you manage a company in divisive times when I know the one thing you look for is certainty of policy and the one thing you haven't got is certainty of policy, and a divided, I assume your workforce just is as divided in the sense politically as everybody else. How difficult?
Well, I think you hit on a really good point. And, Richard, I might go back and maybe by analogy say the skills or what we're having to do and I'm having to do now really can be rooted back to what we did about a year ago. We all got ready for COVID in a similar way of closing factories, certainly watching out for our people. And we all, I think, as industries, as business, as journalists, everyone worked very well through that. But I think what we learned is really when we looked at where we were a year ago, nobody knew what was ahead of us. It was the ultimate in not knowing what was coming. And therefore, it really challenged us as individuals and teams and companies to really rely on our resiliency and agility to deal with the unknown that's ahead of us. And I think the key for us is to take that and deal with all these uncertainties we have every day and use that agility and resiliency to work through problems we might not have known that we've had.
I always use a phrase with colleagues, don't reinvent the wheel when we're doing something, because people always love, well, you really do reinvent the wheel on a daily basis in a sense of your tires. So tell me, sir, I look at the tire and I think, all right, it's rubber, it goes round, it's got a bit of metal in it, it's got this, that, and the other, and hopefully it's fuel efficient. What is the one major development that you are expecting in terms of tires in the next 10 years?
No, it's actually similar to what I know you've been talking about, Richard. It's this new mobility ecosystem that's developing, and how what we might refer to as the intelligent tire fits into that. So in addition to doing all the things that you would expect that tire to do, we are continuing to be able to measure pressure and temperature, but also wear and load and friction. And when we take that real-time data off the road, we can, again, real-time put it into driving systems of vehicles, AV vehicles or semi-autonomous vehicles, and improve the safety and ride and handling of that car. That has tremendous application as we think about where transportation is moving. And as we know, whether there's a driver behind that wheel or not, the tires aren't going anywhere, so their role is arguably going to be even more important as we think about where mobility is going.
Richard Kramer, the CEO of Goodyear, who is not reinventing the wheel, but is reinventing the wheel, if you see what I mean. Good to have you, sir. We'll talk more again as the year moves on. Thank you.